Rauta Indie 5. Once again, we have 5 different bands, 5 different styles and various countries here with the video. So let's get through them in more or less alphabetical order. First, we'll go to Finland with the black metal band Chambre of Unlight. This is already a few years old band, which made their debut album in late 2021. And this is an album I actually got in spring 2022 when we were performing with the band, and knowing the guys in the band, well, obviously we got to talk about the band, and then someone was like, hey, would you like to review this? And who I am to say no to a bunch of cool guys doing cool music. What is Chamber of Unlight then again all about? When we have this debut album called Realm of the Night, released to Werewolf Records in later part of 2021, we have quite traditional take of, well, we could say symphonic black metal, but could be maybe a little bit too bombastic for this kind of material. But nonetheless, this is very, very much like diving back into the mid-90s style of, well, Nordic black metal. And by Nordic, I mean Norway, Finland, Sweden, etc. Basically, Realm of the Night is taking off where Emperor kind of like decided to go, okay, piss off, that's it, we're gonna quit and all that stuff. That is basically before they went on the later part of era with their later albums, which in my opinion are definitely the worst ones. But think about Emperor roughly around anthems, and that's where Chamber of Unlight comes into play. Like, hey, we're gonna take it on from here, and you can just go on and play with your fancy instruments and go all weird ass stuff. So Chamber of Unlight is doing the kind of a Emperor tribute in a way. Not exactly like a copycat, obviously, which is a good thing, but more like we'll get back to basics with this kind of somewhat melodic, not too extreme black metal, having keyboards right there and the rather screamier end of vocals where everything plays out nicely. This is obviously not the most original kind of a black metal, but then again, very, very easy to enjoy if you are into this kind of less extreme sense of black metal. That is not to say this isn't real black metal. I mean, there are lots of atmospheric bands which are kind of a more easy and more lame in the terms of black metal. But if we're going to the kind of traditional ways in the 90s style, when you have good balance between keyboards, guitars, drums, and so on, this is right there for you. So check it out. It's been already out for quite some time, almost 2 years by now. Well, at least 18 months or so. So definitely worth checking out. A good band on stage as well as on album. So check it out. Then the second album on this review pile is a little bit of a disappointment. This is Chthonic cult from Poland playing black and death metal. Now, second album out. I wish I could just say this is the next level of Polish black metal or extreme metal and it's gonna blow your mind and all that stuff. But let's be honest about it. Become Seekers for Death is kind of a lukewarm attempt to do anything new. To me, it sounds more like an underground version of what Behemoth and the likes are doing nowadays. Not exactly the early days of Behemoth when everything was like golden. I'm talking about the early steps of second wave black metal when things were fresh and people like figuring out what to do. Now it more like seems like, okay, Behemoth has become totally commercial and too mainstream and all that stuff. Let's do it again, but with more underground sense. And the result is like, sounding like a cheap ass version of Behemoth. You all know those big grocery store chains which have some quality brands and then there is this own brand, like, hey, this is the cheaper version of like 30% off because this is the big ass brand thing. Doesn't matter what kind of country we're talking about, every fucking place has those, and Chthonic cult sounds exactly like that. Some say Costco, some say Pirkka, some say some Carrefour thing. Thing here is nothing out of ordinary. It's black and death married in a way that makes most black metal bands, most death metal bands, cool as fuck. Chthonic cult is basically exactly the opposite of best of both worlds. It's not horrible, but it's kind of a meaningless and doesn't really offer anything extra to the value. Then we have more how to say, exotic band on this pile, because it's, first of all, it's Indonesia and it's not purely metal. This is Masakre with no debut album out so far, and their style is death metal meeting crust. And so far they have 3 EPs out, and the one we have here is Morbid Extinction, of course, not Execution, but that could be quite fitting as well. Morbid Extinction is 11 minutes, right to the point, 5 tracks, crust meeting death metal. There are definitely death metal parts where it gets really heavy and, well, kind of a death metallic. You know what old school death metal is, I don't need to explain it. There's nothing modern about it, which is a good thing. And from crustier side, it gets all punky or hardcore and, well, energetic. So it's right to the point with very sweet and short and sweet tracks. I mean, on average, they're like 2 minutes and a little bit more. And through those times, you already get all the riffs figured out. It's simple, it's effective, it's fast, it's powerful, but not really original or mind-blowing. It's more like, okay, you have heard these songs a million times before. Maybe not the songs, but the riffs. And production is solid and backs the music up nicely, but it's worthwhile listening to. Yes, if you're a big crust fan, not so much if you're looking for something more powerful or original or, one of the originator stuff. But at least the band is promising. They have something going on, but this EP is not gonna cut it too much. Then we have another Polish band called Malediction of Agony, the 4th one on this pile, and, well, they have only 1 album out so far. They probably skipped the demo phase for a reason, I don't know. To me, this sounds more like a side project between 2 guys, one doing vocals from his own band Paimon, which is black metal band, and the rest of the guys, well, there's this guy, well, called here Bastard of Satan. What a stupid, goofy artist name. Anyway, his main bands or other bands are death metal and grind. So to me, it seems like a grindcore / death metal dude decided, like, hey, I need a black metal project. And the vocalist is like, okay, what about it? I need you to do the vocals. I don't handle them. I do death metal and grindcore. And the black metal guy is, okay, I'm pretty familiar with the stuff because I already have my own band. Let's get it going. After a few beers, the guys get like brainstorming, and then the next day, the guy taking care of the instruments. Okay, I have guitars, drums, bass, everything recorded. Come to my place. Let's have a few beers, and you do the vocals. So the vocalist comes in. Okay, I have some vocal lyrics here ready to do. Let's record it, and weekend is gone, boom, the album is done. Now this might sound like a bad execution of things, but on the contrary, this is actually pretty good. The downside of things here is that there's nothing out of ordinary. I mean, this is kind of a promising and kind of a good stuff, but the thing here is, it could be a lot better. But on the other hand, this is enjoyable. But it's kind of a basic Polish black metal. It's like pretty much all the way going there, but not exactly managing to nailing it like fully. So don't get me wrong, the production is solid. The screamy, black, raspy vocals, solid. Songwriting, pretty good. But is this something that you will, in 10 years of time, to come back to your friends, say, remember Malediction of Agony from 2021? No, it's not. Let's not kid each other. But anyway, this band is promising, and maybe someday it will be something more interesting. So far, it's promising, but not there yet. The last, and this time probably best on the pile, is Trest from Germany, which is boasting with anonymity. Take a look at here, the members lineup, nothing. I don't have the CD here with me in Spain, so I don't really recall how the CD was. Was there information about the lineup? Was there names mentioned? Can't really say for sure because it is in my CD pile back at home. So I'll just go with the information here I have on Metal Archives and be done with it. Trest is playing black metal, and this release, Ordalium / Chambre, Ardente, Chambre Ardente, I guess don't pronounce it. It's a compilation of those 2 previous albums. Well, album and an EP, technically speaking. And this is a reissue of such. 2022 release featuring 7 tracks, 41 minutes or so. And, well, yeah, indeed, it's a compilation of 2 things. But it doesn't really sound like it's split between 2 different parts. Because the thing here is... Okay, now I'm just clicking weirdly. The thing here is, it's actually like sounding as these 2 were made to, fit one another, which is obviously a good thing. I mean, sometimes there are compilation releases which are very, very unbalanced, but here things make a lot of sense. The curious thing is the vocals are quite close to death metal crawliness. It's almost like combining raspy vocals and death metal crawliness and trying to get away with it. And in fact, it works quite nicely. The riffs, however, are pure black metal, kind of a rotten sound. I don't mean the band, but the production here. The thing here is, it's not your typical black metal sound or production here what you're listening to, and at first it might feel like you need to get used to it. It's something like a little bit off, but after a while it works. It's not the most primitive or raw sounding release, but it's definitely more on the underground rusty side of things rather than clean and nice production. And the music is kind of reminding me of Mgła from Poland, but not exactly like that. The production plays one part, but also the riffs. There are parts where it gets more atmospheric, especially towards the end, which is the different release. But on the other hand, there is this monotonous ways that the album is actually convincing me like this is on a right track. However, this could be a little bit more memorable. Now it's more like good atmosphere and good general idea is right on the place, but something magical is missing. And because of that, I am not giving this one an 8, but 7.5. And the rest of the scores you can pretty much read on the description box if you even care about that. I wouldn't pay too much attention on the scores. They're always very, subjective and, depending on various things. But all I'm saying, this is good stuff, but it could really benefit of even better production and something like more focus on the songwriting details. Overall, however, I would say Trest is something interesting coming from Germany. No idea what the lineup is like and don't really care, but the music speaks for itself, so give it a go. Oh, and the topics, witches, witch hunts, witch trials. So if you never got too much of witches, this is definitely right for you. This is Rauta, and you will find all the links provided for these review albums in the description box. Check them out if you feel like something interesting was on this video, and if not, piss off and start listening to some good shit. See you again with more review videos coming your way. Bye bye.